Leah Pezzarossi.
All right, we're live. You got that? Okay. So you're good.
You want me?
You're good. You don't even. Yep. Oh, and you have the camera in that direction. That's fine.
Okay.
So, Tim Peck, Leah Pezzarossi.
Yes.
Nice. I am here at Open Door. Yesterday, we did a quick show on. This show is called Dr. Tim. It's really about health, and we talk about health in a much wider standpoint than just our physical health, our mental health, our community's health, our public health, and what you do fits right in and right into that, and kind of the social determinants of health, including houselessness, homelessness, food insecurity, etc. So that's what we talk about here. Yesterday we had a quick show because we kept hearing that Open Door was going to close or it was going to be evicted or all those rumors, and we just didn't know what it was. And then there was a commissioners meeting last night in Floyd County. Tuesday night, excuse me, to vote on an eviction process for you in this building at the end of the year. So with all that said, maybe you can introduce yourself first and then introduce what Open Door is.
Yes.
And then we'll get into the whole eviction thing. But let's learn about the good work you're doing.
Okay. So I am the executive director here at Open Door. I've been here 21 years. We have a residential program that has 3 different types of programming. One is short-term emergency shelter care. Another one is long-term residential treatment. And the last one is our most recent, and that is a program for runaway and homeless youth. We generally get kids through the Department of Child Services, juvenile probation offices, and we started to see that we're getting more and more referrals from outside of the community, and we wanted to deal with the local community as much as possible. And so the reason that we applied for that federal grant and are operating that program is because for the runaway and homeless youth, they don't have to go through the process like the DCS kids and probation kids.
Okay.
So it's really helpful for certain types of kids. Like right now we have a kiddo whose mom was evicted, and so he's got a safe place to stay while she's out looking for a place.
Okay. What are some other examples of types of kind of people that would come, kids? What is their situation that would bring them here?
So a lot of our kids in emergency shelter care and long-term residential treatment have been in the system for a long time. They've been kicked out of multiple placements. Some dozens of places.
In the system, meaning the foster system?
Foster care system, yes. So it's by the time they come to a facility like ours, they've usually been through a lot. They've experienced a lot of trauma. We have served fewer children recently, but I feel like we've had to become much more specialized in how we do things because the trauma is so much more significant. A lot of physical abuse, a lot of substance abuse in the home, sometimes substance abuse with parents and kids together. And so also for the first time since I've been here, I'd say in the last 2 years, we have more children that have no family to speak of than ever. And so we are also trying to be kind of that safe, stable adult relationship for them.
Got it. So I work in the emergency department and I see all sorts of abuse, all sorts of unfortunate situations, often parents who or might have gotten in a car accident and have no social support, but also, abuse situations, drugs and alcohol. We call the police and DCS who helps. And then I don't know what happens afterwards. I hope that the system is working for that person or that they're safe, right? And my job is to go back and help the next person in the next room who's sick, right? Use the skills that I have. After I make that phone call and this boy has no parents that can take care of them anymore, support system around them, what happens to them?
So usually DCS will try to locate a family. If they can't find a family, they will try to find a foster home. Foster homes are exceedingly rare, unfortunately, especially for kids who are older.
Yeah.
And so that's also how we get our kids a lot of the time. Is they're teenagers and foster homes are reluctant to take them. We also get teenagers that have a lot of different types of behavior. It might be self-harm, it might be aggression, and so we're an appropriate placement for those those kids too.
Mm-hmm.
But the system has so many different components, and the other thing is that the DCS system is so large that I feel like it's really hard for them to have uniformity across the state
Mm-hmm.
with how they do things. So,
And how are you funded here?
so for residential services, we have a per diem that we get that is paid by state property taxes. Um, we have an after school program in 7 elementary schools, and that is funded through various grants that we've cobbled together. And then we do diagnostic and evaluation services, and that is a contract with the state. And then we also have Title V funding that pays for us to do sexual abuse prevention education
Mm-hmm.
in Clark and Floyd County schools. We reach thousands of children with that program.
Okay.
And also with that program, we have to handle disclosures because they inevitably happen. But that's
What is that? Can you say more about that? It seemed a bit vague. What exactly does that program do?
so we talk to the kids about body safety and talk a lot about how to protect yourself, how to recognize inappropriate touch, inappropriate actions, and how to help yourself, how to find a safe adult. And there are times when children will come up to our program coordinator and tell her about something that's happened to them.
Okay.
And so we will work with the schools on making a DCS report and getting that process started.
Got it.
But we are completely self-supporting. So although we are a department of Floyd County government, we are the only one that doesn't cost local people local property tax.
Interesting. Everything comes from your state property taxes
And
go to
grants.
support, and grants that come to
Yes.
support. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
It's
you.
something to be proud of. Well, gets me to my next question. What's your background? How did you get into this? How do you have that financial management services while also the operation skills to make something this big work, while also the heart to be doing this and not running some large business somewhere?
So I was telling somebody else this the other day. These are the kids I grew up with in my neighborhood.
Mhm.
That's who these kids are. And so I've always just kind of felt a connection. And when I first got into social services, I had gotten my bachelor's in
Where are you from?
psychology.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Louisville.
Yeah, from Louisville.
I got my bachelor's in psychology, and so I did a little bit of case management work and worked with adults, and then moved to the kids program. And I just started to make some contacts, and I started to really feel like I was able to connect with the kids, and I'm very passionate about it, but I'm not sentimental and I'm not warm and fuzzy. And, I just want to I really want to help them, because if not, then they're not going to be successful as adults, and they're going to cost a lot more money.
Okay.
So
And that point we talk about all the time when it comes to health is it costs a lot to be unhealthy.
yes.
And it costs the state a lot to be unhealthy. It costs the country and our taxpayers a lot to be unhealthy. And doing something like this to invest in children now, you said it right there, it helps. It's fiscally conservative to do so, and
Yeah.
it helps down the road not spend nearly as much.
And we actually just had a former resident make a post that he would be in hospital or jail if it weren't for here.
Yeah.
And he's, I believe, in his mid-20s now and doing great.
Yeah.
And we do stay in touch with a lot of our former residents. When the commissioners meeting happened and we first posted about it, 2 former residents actually reached out to me and offered to write letters. So I forwarded those on to the commissioners. Last night, a former resident texted me. She's 30 now. We stay in touch, and she wants to come to the meeting on the 24th. And that is our biggest program for sure, and the most complex. But we also do a lot of other things as
Mhm.
well. And then we tend to be like a long-term safe place for the kids, where they'll reach out if they're having trouble.
Mhm.
I mean, we just had
That stable, sturdy
Yes.
place for them to come back to.
yes,
Even if you're not offering that service, you can figure out what to do.
help them with food, help them. We just had a kid that was here for 2.5 years, and we helped to move her into an apartment
Mm-hmm.
and get her set up. Staff went out and scrubbed and cleaned and helped her organize and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
awesome.
that stuff is not funded, but
Yeah.
we don't care. We don't care.
Right.
So anyway, as far as the financial management, I've learned a few lessons over the years. It's taken me a while to figure out how to do our financial reporting for the state that determines our per diem so that it is adequate to care for the kids. An interesting aspect about that is that I feel like we run so efficiently that we probably have the lowest per diem in Southern Indiana. So we save the taxpayers money by being that efficient and being lower to pay for than some other facilities. Um, there are facilities that are $200 more a day than we are. So that's important to me too, is that when I got
what's the secret there to be literally $200 less a day per bed or child, or how do you
per child per
unit per child per day? How?
So,
and have these success stories you spoke about?
Well, I think that some of it is owed to some of the small supports that we do get from the county, like the auditor's office processing our payroll and the IT department. I think that some of it, we don't pull those costs out to put on our cost report. So that has always been helpful. But I also think that because we're part of county government, that our salaries have historically been a little bit lower than the average in this industry. Another thing that affects the per diem, and there are a lot of things that go into that, but another thing that affects it is your census and your staff to child ratio. So if you have fewer kids and a lot more staff, you get a higher rate, but then eventually that will kind of inverse. So there's just a lot that goes into that. And yeah.
So let's get into two more pieces of information and then we'll wrap this up. We have a big day. I have a big day. Actually, I have two more events to go to. I have a Republican event to go to and a Democrat event to go to, which is fun to kind of bridge some, make some bridges here. And this nonpartisan event. So the question is, let's talk about the eviction.
Okay.
What's going on? And then afterwards, I want to make sure there's just a little time left to say, how do we help? Who can help? Do you want other people's help? How do they,
Okay.
do you need money? Do you need time? Do you need resources? What is it? I'm sure you need all of it. So tell people how they can do so. But before we get there, what is going on with being evicted?
So about a week and a half ago, one of the commissioners came here, just stopped by and told me that they wanted to end our agreement and that we had to be out by the end of the year.
One of the commissioners themselves came?
Yes. Okay. And I was like, whoa. And I was trying to like work it out in my brain. And I'm like, well, hold on. We've got contractual obligations that might interfere with. And, you know, we have to get approvals from the Department of Health and the Department of Child Services for any new place we might go to. We also have this matching grant, and we had it until 2028. We thought we'd have more time to raise the matching funds, and so this shrinks that timeline quite a bit too. But I went back and looked at the local interlocal agreement, and there were provisions that are at least going to keep us here until February. And they did indicate verbally, although it's not in the resolution they passed, that they will give us more time if we need it. We have hit the ground running. We started a specific campaign that people can find on our Facebook page to help us. And the faster we can raise the money, the better we can find a safe, secure place. Representative Ed Clear has offered to sit in whoever's office he has to get the approvals pushed through as quickly as possible. I mean, we are ready to take responsibility for this, but the timeline is very, very.
Yeah. So the timeline is February.
Yes.
And they verbally said, but didn't put it in writing or in the resolution, that you might be able to get some more time, but that's not guaranteed.
Correct.
What has to happen between now and February?
So what has to happen between now and February is we either have to raise enough money to buy this building, which is a daunting task, not because of the fundraising. We're going to have to do that anyway. But I'm not a building manager.
Right. So, but you're a county government, a wing of the county government.
Yes.
But you personally in your organization, this part of it will have to raise the money to buy this building rather
Yes.
than the county raising the money and
Yes.
putting it in their budget.
Yes.
I don't see how that works. So, yeah. So you're just going to have to raise money for the county government yourself, and it's not going to be through necessarily grants or through taxpayer money to come in. You just have to find good people who are willing to give money.
Well, we are definitely going to be applying for some grants,
Okay.
some local foundations.
Foundations, right?
Yeah, we've made some
But not
contacts.
government grants necessarily.
No.
Okay.
Most of those that we have or could get don't pay for capital projects.
Okay.
This runaway and homeless youth program, I could probably move a little bit of money around to help, but not a whole lot.
Sure.
So
How much do you need to buy this building?
I have no idea. They haven't gotten the assessment.
What is this building? What was this building?
It was Pineview Elementary School. Most of this building is county government offices, and we don't, like I said, I'm not a property manager or building manager. I don't know what we would be getting ourselves into. That would be the simplest thing to happen so that we could then fundraise to build new. However, we are also in touch with some other people about some other properties and are taking a look at some things. We've talked about maybe the county would give us some money or some land up in Nova Park and we could build new there.
Okay.
But again, it's a really difficult timeline.
And you have to do all of that by
February.
which is 9 months from now.
Right. And it's really because there's the construction.
6-9 months to come up with a plan for something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're starting from scratch. You don't really know where you're going to get this money or even where to start.
Right.
Okay. I'm hoping that there's some of our listeners out there and some of our watchers do know where for you to start.
Yeah.
And will reach out and say, I have this idea, I have this idea, I have this path, I have this path, I have this dollar, I have this dollar. So it sounds like what you need is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is you need money, of course, and places that might, foundations, family offices, wealthy individuals, etc., that might have money to help support this. And you probably need a down payment, not the whole thing. Right. You need a 20%
At this point,
on a mortgage, perhaps, right, rather than the whole thing. Although the whole thing would be nice, and then you need, but people who can lend their skills and knowledge of even how to navigate all this.
Yes, and we met with somebody today, a media relations company who is going to help us get our word out, and he gave us a huge list of things to do. And so, if somebody doesn't have money, we'll take your volunteer time to help us with some of these tasks.
Good. And who is that? Which?
It was Pro Media.
Pro Media. And so, okay, so you're looking for, volunteers, right? And not hands volunteers, although that's helpful, I'm sure, in ways. But you're looking, especially if you have to move to another building or build something, but some people who have some, skills around financial planning and analysis, some skills around real estate development. What other kind of skills are we looking for?
Looking for people who aren't scared to call somebody and ask for money for us. Call corporate offices of companies and things like that.
Right. Because corporations can do this too, right? Kroger, who serves our community, can further serve the community by doing something like this.
Yes.
Not that I'm putting Kroger on. I kind of am.
They've donated before.
I'm sure they have. So, and that's number one rule of fundraising, right? Go back to the people who've donated before because, they're already invested and you don't have to sell to them the mission of this place. They obviously know it if they've been able to donate before, and hopefully they'll donate again.
Yeah.
And any other skills or?
Planning, like we plan to have an open house / cookout on June 20th. And so people could come out and help with that.
Okay.
People could donate food for that, could donate.
June 20th?
Yes.
What day is that?
That's a Friday.
A Friday. During the day or what time?
Yes, we don't have exact times yet. We're going to be posting about it once we
let us know and we'll amplify it. We'll put it on our social media. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So
okay. Well,
ready to do it.
Any last words? What should I be asking that people might be wondering that you want them to know out there?
that I went through all of our staff, and our cumulative tenure here is 150 years. Yeah. We stay, we're very dedicated. We try our best to use evidence-based practices with the kids, and yeah, we mean well, we're sincere. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for everything that you've done already leading up to this
Yeah.
moment. But now it's, sometimes we're called to something bigger, and you've been thrust right into
Yeah.
something where there's going to be a whole lot on your shoulders.
Yes.
So one thing I hope people will give you is grace as you're going through this and learning new skills, learning new things,
Yeah.
being put in situations that you never thought you'd be in. I certainly will. We certainly will, and help support you in any way we can.
Thank you. And I will say, I have to give a shout out to all the staff. I told them on Friday last week about this situation, and despite the fact that they're all worried about losing their employment as county employees, they have not run scared. They have rallied, and they are in this completely.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So much. I appreciate it.